All right, we're going to be down by the river, and so I thought I would do a painting showing, the ripples in the water and maybe how to, that you might want to handle it. Now, you'll see on this particular piece of paper, I already painted the background in because I really want to just concentrate on the water. And a lot of times I will do this anyhow, paint the what's around the river. In this case, it's the Rio Grande River, and then we're going to put the water in. I'm going to keep the water fairly light. I don't want to get too dark with it because I have a lot of darks up above, and the river is the feature. There's some greens and blues and grays in here, and that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to keep it lighter and maybe a sort of a greenish color, because if I get too blue with it, the blue's going to clash with all of what you see there. And so we're going to just mix up a little gray green here, as you can see. Maybe a little grayer. A little more blue in there. Okay, so what we have is the river is going back. I'm going to keep a lot of water here, but the river is going back through this brush back here. So I'm going to put that little greenish color in there. And you see it kind of matches some of the stuff in the sky. So I'm going to then leave where my whites are. I'm going to let those show, and I'm going to paint somewhat like a sumi painter, a Japanese sumi painter. You see, I'll go sideways with my brush, and I'll get these ripples in the water. Okay, I have to kind of decide where everything's going to be. It's hard. It really is hard. But you can always, add a little bit of color here and there where you left too much white. So I'd rather leave too much in the beginning than not enough. So we're going to leave that like that. And I'm going to come down here and keep using my brush on this with these sideways strokes and get bigger with them down here. Now this is just the first layer, so this is not what the color of the water will be when we're finished. But it's in keeping with the painting. The river was probably a little bluer when I saw it, but you see, I just keep it going sideways. And I don't want it just to be all white, so, I have patches, see, more solid green. And I think about which way the river is flowing. It comes down here, spreads out and flows across. Now I'll probably paint, when I'm painting out in the morning, I will do the same thing. I'll paint down on the river and possibly water, who knows. You know, you don't know what you're going to paint until you get out there. You just kind of look around, think about it, kind of enjoy the outside. Okay, I added more blue to this. Up against the bushes, I want to bring the water, maybe not showing it white. I bring wherever I go under those areas. So maybe down here I'll be a little more expansive. I'll just kind of bring my brush down here and paint a large area. And then as I go back to join this, I'll just do that sideways brush. Maybe some wider areas. We don't want it all to be the same. Let's bring some of that over here too. Okay, so we have that green color in there. Now I'm going to switch to a more blue-green and put some marks over top. I have to dry this first. I'm going to get some of this kind of blue-gray in there. All right, so let's go over this. We have two layers. We have the white and we have the light green. So I'm going to take my same colors, a little green, more blue, and it's sort of this grayish color that you see up here. So I'm going to reflect a little of that. This is rough water, so you're probably not going to get a whole lot of reflections in this water. And it's in the shade. So again, the reflections. And you see I go sideways again. And sometimes I just dot my brush in there. And around these little things, sometimes the water gets a little more calm, so I'll let it into those. And then we'll put a little bit back here, just a little. We don't want too much back there. Okay, so I again am going to use some of my strokes here, and I don't want to cover up all my green. Maybe there'll be a little less of this. Color. You know, it might be best to just kind of come down there and put a little less on. You can always go back over and put more. Because I do want a bit of this. I don't want it to be all dark. Okay, so we have some dark in there, and then it gets a little lighter down in here. Let's put a few more of these marks Maybe there's a couple rivulets going down this way. Let's bring it around these bushes here. So it might flow. Okay, so we're getting really in dangerous water here. I may be adding too much of the dark. So I'm going to back off a little. Put some more water in there. And the water does get a little, we'll just be a little lighter down here in some spots. Get rid of the white right there. Again, the river's flowing. It has this sort of like movement. So you can have these nice round marks if you want. See? All right, let's add a little more blue. Oh, that got pretty dark in there. Oops. Let's pick that up a little bit. So you have the choice of blocking out some of those whites if there's just too many of them. So let's kind of do that. Let's get rid of this one too. And then let's bring it down here so that this is a little darker. Now, a lot of times there are rocks on the water or in the water, and I think there were some here, but you know what? I didn't want to do the rocks. So let's get a little dark here under the bushes. Give them a little more depth. I'll use some of my transparent oxide red and my violet, maybe a little olive green. So I get this nice dark color. Let's see what we can do here. Get some more over here. because it might be, just a little more intense. Your darks would be a little more intense down close here. So have a little of these branches coming out into the water. So that's a little darker, and maybe a little there. A little there. And we don't want all these bushes to be the same size and shape, so you gotta be on the lookout for that too. You don't want them all the same round shape. I'm going to take just a little violet. And brush it in there, just a little. Just to bring some of that down in here. All right, so we have a few lights coming through here. We have the violet, we have the greens, and I think we can probably call this finished. I probably got a little busy with the water, but it was flowing pretty fast in there. So there you go. I'll just put my name on it. Take off the tape. Give it a nice crisp edge. Now remember, these are paintings I'm painting outside, so they're supposed to be fast and good shapes, bright colors. Not something I want to keep the laboring over. I could have added a few more little, let me do this. I always like to do my little brushy marks to add some. Let's do that with a dark violet. Put some on this side. Don't want to go back too far with them because you really can't see them too far back. Let's put another one up in here. All right, that adds just and then maybe a couple of branches in here. These could be, yeah, okay. So there we go. I did my water more, you know, it's moving. You could do it a little calmer, but this is what we have. And a lot of color, a lot of fall color. All right, so I added a few more spots on it. I put a dark here. I brought dark down in here under these bushes and here and here and here. It connects the bushes into, or the willows, into the water a lot better. And you know, the little bits of branches help it. I added a little more orange here and there, even though it didn't seem to reflect into the river too much, but I thought it needed that down there just to bring everything, the river and what's behind it, together better with the violet, the orange, the dark spots. Now the river works better with the painting. One other thing that I did was I added a little orange. I thought it needed a little orange here and there, just to connect it into all of these orangey bushes. And just that little bit, I think, makes a difference. So, you know, sometimes you look at your painting and you go, oh, it needs a little more of this or a little more of that. So there you go. It is now as finished as it's going to be.